What's going on, family? Welcome back into another episode of Too Good to Be Drew. You guessed it. I'm your host, Drew J. Davis, here with the second episode, and we're going to keep it going and keep it starting fast. And the episode's titled, Why Coaching? Why did you decide to choose a career in coaching? And I think it's a very valid question. From as far back as I can remember, I've been really good at giving advice, and I want to be clear, that's not what coaching is. But in part of giving advice, it means that a lot of people trust you to bring situations to them. It means they're comfortable being vulnerable and telling you things that they might not tell other people, and that in the end, that your feedback or your direction is something that they appreciate. So I found myself when I was in college, even my roommate at the time, he would come to me and ask me all these questions, about a relationship that he was in, or this girl he was trying to get, or hanging up his cleats and walking away from his football career. And I was really good at sitting down and listening to him. And being able to sit down and listen is a wonderful trait to have. So if you don't have it, I hope you get it at some point in your life, because that with that will come a lot of wisdom. But me being able to sit down and hear him talk about stuff and hear the inflection of what when he said something, to hear his hesitation on explaining something, if I asked a question about something, his responsive time, his responsiveness, whether he was extremely responsive, to answer it quickly, or whether he was really deliberate to take some time, whether he answered happily or angrily, just all these different types of things. And at the end of the day, the advice I would give him was a little bit of my opinion, but it was also steeped in how I felt and what direction he really wanted to go for himself. And that was a very important aspect of it. Whether I thought the situation that he should go this way or not, but based on the information that he gave me, I was able to give him a better sense of what direction he should go in. Did he listen to me all the time? Come on now, y'all. Does anybody? But with that first little taste of helping people and what I got back from listening to them, I think had a big, big impact on the journey that I've taken up to this point. I have a background in psychology, majored in psychology at the University of Oregon, been in a graduate program for sport coaching at DU, been in a couple of leadership and certification classes and courses that I've mastered. But the connection with people is what really draws me to coaching. I've had so many great mentors in my life that have done great things for me, pointed me on the right path when I was maybe straying a little bit off, supported me when things were bad, when I tore my ACL at the University of Oregon after my very first start. People that welcomed me into their family to the point that I call their daughters my little sisters, that I call them my big brother, that we call each other on Christmas, holidays, birthdays, special occasions, anniversaries, you name it. And so with coaching, or just with that mentorship aspect, you develop a really good relationship with people. And with having a good relationship with people, it means they open up and they tell you stuff that they probably wouldn't tell other people. And I think that's a good thing, and that's a sacred thing. And it's something that it should not be taken lightly, but it also speaks to your character and your integrity as a person when people trust you enough with information to sit down with you and try to hedge out which way they should go. And I got away from the idea of coaching. After I graduated college, I played for the Atlanta Falcons for 4 years. I was an undrafted free agent. After my career ended with them, I drudged around and looked into jobs and careers because, hey, player got to work, need to have money coming in to pay bills. And so I did all these jobs, and I got into coaching in high school, got into coaching at the college level at the University of Central Florida, was hired by my college wide receiver coach, Scott Frost. I knew I didn't want to coach, but when I was in those rooms as a graduate assistant, I found myself managing all these personalities. And I worked with the running backs, but I found myself managing all these personalities. And a lot of the work wasn't necessarily about football and X's and O's. It was talking about girls. It was talking about being to class on time. It was talking about how to work hard, how to show up and be a leader. It was talking about, waiting your time, or when your time comes to be ready for that time, and managing playing time, or managing personalities behind playing time, I should say. And I enjoyed that stuff. And I enjoyed it because I had people that did it for me. And so I'm not going to say I'd be in a ditch somewhere if I didn't have these people pointing me in the right direction. But I'm saying that I was able to get where I got to, and I'm at where I'm at today behind the mentorship and the advice and the coaching that older OGs gave to me. And so I felt it was my responsibility to do that for other up and coming players, to help them get through the homesickness of being away from home in college, of not playing, of redshirting, of getting bad news when they've suffered that torn ACL or broken foot that knocked them out for the rest of the season, to sit there and to give them some affirming words and to see them, not just as athletes, but to see them as people and as young men who have a lot of potential was something that I really liked and really enjoyed. And to be honest, I would do that even if I got paid $0. But since I got a business and since I got me to feed and I got family to feed, I got to charge, which I'm okay with. And so if you're looking for that stuff, you should be happy to pay for it. Because if you're getting value from something, that's what really matters, getting the value. And it doesn't matter the cost. If you end up getting the value that you want to accomplish and set out and go get what you want to get, then that makes it worth it. And so through all of this, I worked at UCLA as their director of player development. And what really made me get into player development, I kind of, not that I didn't know it was a career. We had and I put this in quotations, a director of player development at the University of Oregon. His name was James Harris. And I remember when I tore my ACL, James came, I think the same time as me, my freshman year, or into the summer going into the year, I want to. And quite honestly, I didn't even know director of player development position was something that you can pursue in life. And I'm gonna do this as a quick plug to shout out my boy Ed Jones over at Beyond the Field, who they do a lot of they not they do a lot. They are known, or he is known, and he's building an empire that focuses on player development, which is growing every day at many levels in all sports. So go check him out, Ed Jones II, Beyond the Field. You can check him out on his podcast. You can go to his website. He's doing blogs. He's on Substack. So that's my little plug for Ed. Back to the story. We had a director of player development position at Oregon, and his name, or a person, and his name was James L. Harris. Now, James Harris, he came from, I think, Nebraska at the time. Young black dude, had a wife, I think had one daughter at the time. But he was the guy that everybody went to when they had a problem. And I stand corrected. He wasn't our player development. He wasn't our director of player development. He was our nutritionist. But he took on all these different hats and all these different titles. But everybody, I noticed that all the players will kind of gravitate towards him. Like I said, he's a younger black guy. He's on the staff as a nutritionist. He's dealing with us on a daily basis. He's helping us gain our weight and eat what we need to eat in order to go in the weight room and be successful and gain those pounds we need to gain in order for us to be in a better position to play. So we developed a really good relationship with him, but he was also a really cool dude. And his office was inside of the treatment center, where we would go get taped and get treatment, where the hot tubs and cold tubs were, and where the snack bar, the nutrition bar was. And sometimes you had to walk through the training room in order to get to the locker room or up to the meeting rooms or whatever. And one day, I just noticed this over time that his office was an office that a lot of people stopped and went into, whether you would wanted to go in there and rub on his head or just say hello or just write on his wall, or you know what I mean? Like, and that's a valuable space, a space that players, people, coworkers, employees want to just go into because they know the energy and the atmosphere and the vibe is fantastic. And so I just noticed that, like, people would kind of be sad when they'd walk by his office and he wasn't in there, whether they had a question to ask him, whether they want to sit down and chop it up, whatever it might have been. And come my sophomore year, I tore my ACL after my very first start and was super bummed and was wondering about my career, my life. I was thinking about transferring before then, before I tore my ACL, because I wasn't playing. And I just remember James started pouring into me a lot more. And on a day-to-day basis, we talk quite a bit, but those people and athletes who have been injured know what it's like when you get injured on a team, because it feels like you're no longer part of the team, whether that's by design or by accident, either one. You're on a different schedule. Your whole team is still going to practice. You're coming in at a different time to get treatment, to get ice, to do some rehab, and then you're able to leave and go home. Sometimes you don't need to go to the meetings. Sometimes you're not sticking around for training table and to eat. It's just different. And I noticed James started pouring into me, and he started getting me to do more community service. He started just pulling me on and pulling me into things. And I wasn't a person who avoided that stuff, but I can tell there was a concerted effort on his part to say, hey, let me put an arm around Drew and bring him along. And this continued even after my ACL injury. And as I went into my junior and my senior year, I can remember us vividly doing a lot of work in the community. We took some kids shopping to Target, and I think we gave them $100 or $200 for them to buy presents for their family and themselves. I remember just anytime we had a speaking engagement or a meeting with boosters, he would let me know about it. I know that he spoke to my family and got some baby pictures to post during a game, like when they do those little timeout things, so you can guess what player this is. And he was just a real down to earth dude, and a lot of people really, really liked him. And I think he had the best interest uh, at heart for the student athletes and for what he was working towards. And so I didn't really think about it then, but after I left the University of Oregon, played in the NFL, got done playing in the NFL, worked some jobs that were easy, not so easy. And then once I got back into football, I said, you know what? I don't think I really like football. As I love watching football. I don't think I love coaching football, because coaching football is different than just being around football. When you're coaching football, you might coach players on the field for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, but a lot of your time is in the film room watching game, like countless hours of film, adjustments, game planning, a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I know I didn't want to coach. And when my college coach, Scott Frost, gave me a call and told me he had an extra coaching position at Central Florida, I was like, I don't know. I'm good on coaching. And he said, hey, well, we don't have a director of player development position open right now. I know that's where your fit would be, but we just don't have it right now. But if you came out here, you would be able to go to grad school. And if this person ever left, I would be able to give you an interview or give you a shot at this position. And that was good enough for me. So I went to UCF. We had an undefeated season. We were national champions, in quotation marks for the people that know that inside joke. We were national championship champions. And after that season, all the coaches got pay raises and promotions to go to the University of Nebraska to coach. And at this time, I started thinking, I said, I would have had a job in Nebraska if I wanted to go. But I started looking at it and I was like, I'm 28, I'm Black, I'm single. I don't think the cornfields in Lincoln, Nebraska are the best place for me to be right now. So I gave a call to my college coach, Chip Kelly, who had just got the job at UCLA. And I gave him a call, told him what I was thinking. He said, hey, I would love to bring you in for an interview, finish up your season with Central Florida. And then after you're done with that, we'll talk and we'll see when we can get you out here for an interview. And so from my time working in high school football, that's when I really started to think about helping players in the player development space off the field. And for those people that don't know what player development is pretty much looking after the athlete's well-being on and off the field, I guess you can say. So when I worked at UCLA and a parent would ask me, hey, what exactly does the director of player development do? I would say, hey, we look over the well-being, overall well-being of the student athlete. So I handle things like resumes, cover letters, internships, girlfriend problems, family problems, you name it. If it's something outside of the scope of what the coaches would do or can do, I handle it for them. And it's pretty much trying to get them ready for the real world, or getting them ready for when they leave this building, that they can be safe and successful. And that's pretty much what I would tell parents. I had my little spiel, wasn't a salesman, but I wanted to create something that spoke to what I did, added a little bit of funny in there, because granted, we did deal with players and girlfriend with problems, breakups, sadness, whatever you might say, teammates dating other teammates' girlfriend after they broke up with them. Um, but we were literally looking over the athlete in a overall, and like my boy Ed Jones says, an holistic standpoint. And I really like doing that. The work did not feel like work. I didn't have to critique them on what they did on the field or what they did in practice. I got to talk about hard skills and soft skills, about how they should shake somebody's hand, how they should make eye contact with them, where they should stand, how to tie a tie, what their resume should look like, how to network effectively and efficiently. I got to work on those things with them. Within my coaching and within my the mentorship that I do with young men, these are a lot of the same things that I do. And if anybody knows any real men out there, these are some things that you teach, your son, your cousin, your nephew. These are things that are imperative for young people to know. So when they get in the real world or when they're in these spaces that they feel comfortable, that they know they belong, their life skills, you're teaching these things for them to have in their back pocket to be ready and not be caught off guard. And so while we talk about coaching, as I was at UCLA, I got this opportunity to go back to acting school. And you guys will hear me say this quote all the time. And I read something in my early 20s and it said, the people that regret not doing something were usually good enough to do it. And so I remember I was majoring in theater arts not majoring, I was minoring in theater arts at the University of Oregon. And I remember I was so happy that I was doing that I finally found something that I wanted to do. And I called my dad and I talked to him, and me and my dad don't have the best or the greatest relationship. And I don't even know why I decided to tell him this, but we'll get into that on the episode down the line. And my dad's Ghanaian, African. So anybody out there with African parents knows they all about education. They don't care about nothing else, which is okay as long as you know that. And he got kind of mad at me and he scolded me a little bit. And he was like, why would you major in that? You can't do anything with that. You should major in business or accounting or, some computer science thing. He's like, you can't do anything with that. And so I go from this point where I was really, really high. I'm like, man, I know what I want to major in college. I know what I want to pursue, to this low point where I'm like, dang, so I wasn't too smart. I'm over here just trying to, spend my scholarship and major in theater arts when I should in turn be doing something else. So I still majored in psychology at that time. And then I dropped the minor because we went to the national championship that year and we got back and I didn't feel like going to any class. When I say any class, I mean any class. And so that's the story behind that. But that was my biggest regret during COVID that I was thinking about. I was like, man, I didn't want to be 55, 60 years old saying, man, I could have been the next Denzel, but my daddy held me back. Definitely not a sentence I wanted to say. So as I was at UCLA, I fill out this application, I send it into this acting school, and I send in this audition tape. And I was like, if they say yes, cool. If not, okay, cool. I knew what I already knew. Like I wasn't gonna be no actor. And they sent me an acceptance letter. And so from that point, I had to decide, am I going to stay here at this job where I feel safe? Am I going to leave here and pursue something that I don't know how it will turn out? And as you guys will get to know about me, I'm really risk adverse. Like I love having the paycheck where I know how much it's going to be when it comes in. I don't want to have to scratch and claw or the old me. And I really had to sit down and think about this. And as I would have had a year and a half to decide to go to acting school. So during this time, I said, "Hey, I'm going to get certified as a life coach. I'm going to continue my master's and continue to pursue this. What will be the end goal was a sports psychologist, and during that time, to supplement my income, I'll be able to be a life and performance coach, working with people and helping them reach to where they're trying to reach." And so that's the plan I came up with in order to leave UCLA, a very cushy and comfortable job, doing a career I liked, and transition into coaching, where I'm still helping a lot of those same athletes, whether student athletes or professional, continue to develop those hard and soft skills off the field, help them with the performance aspect of things that we work on to get them to perform great on the field and in the meeting rooms, and then also to be able to pursue my passion for acting, or what I thought was my passion for acting, and learn the craft and figure out if I was good or not. So the long story short to that on why coaching, why do you want to coach, Drew? I want to help people. I want to continue to pour into people. I want people to know that the dreams and aspirations that they have and that they're working towards are worth it. It's okay to be afraid and scared and nervous to go pursue it. But there are a lot of people out here doing stuff that are a lot less talented than you just because they started, just because they didn't listen to themselves on, am I good at this? Will this work out? Will I be able to make money? They did it and they figured out how to do it along the lines. And that's what it takes. And so as a coach, I'm here to pour into people. I'm here to give people the tools they need to be successful. I'm here to give people the affirmation. I'm here to give you homework, which is one very important thing I do. I give all my clients homework to take home and work on so that when we come back the next time, we have something to meet and talk about. So I can see if they're really, really focused and that they really, really want to do this or if they just blowing smoke. But my biggest thing is I'm here to help guide people where they want to go. And being a professional athlete, working in college football, athletes are probably the most successful people to me because they know how to work hard. They know how to say, hey, this job isn't 9 to 5, it's whenever to whenever. They know how to compete against other people that are going after the same things. But I don't think those traits are just necessarily within athletes. I think they help develop them. And so, with dealing with, and excuse my language, normal people, citizens, we can find and cultivate those same type of principles with the work that I do. So if you're not an athlete or you don't think you're a high performing individual, you'll never know unless you give me a call and hop on a discovery call with me. But there are a lot of people that are capable of being a high performing individual, of to receive coaching to go after the things they want to go after, whether that is a promotion, whether that's a whole nother job, whether that's the president of the United States. Doesn't matter. That's up to you. But why I decided to do coaching is because I love the face-to-face work I get to do with people. I love the relationship that we build. From me being on the outside to be able to look into your life and to see when you were at a low point and you thought you were down and out and you thought there was no light at the end of the tunnel, to now you're confident, you've launched your business, you've transitioned to this other career and you're killing it. And a lot of that is just solely based on you deciding that you wanted to put in the work and deciding that you wanted to take this seriously. So when we ask the question, Drew, why coaching? I hope it is a lot more clear now, especially looking at my journey. We'll catch you guys again soon. This is Drew Davis on Too Good to Be Drew. Stay healthy.